Restructuring is back on the front burner of the Nigerian political scene, a topic now competing for space with others like farmers, herdsmen, clashes, insecurity across the land, but not forgetting political realignments ahead of 2019. To speak to some of these issues today is a member of the Senate Committee on Constitutional Review. Welcome to Fireworks, your preferred hard talk interview program on TBC. I am Bukola Samuel Wemimo. There'll be more after this time out, so stay with us. Thank you for staying tuned to the program. My guest today is the Deputy Minority Whip in the Senate and a member of the Senate Constitution Review Committee in the person of Distinguished Senator Biodun Olujimi. Thank you for your time, ma'am.
Thank you very much. You're welcome.
Let's start with what is trending online on the social media now and in mainstream newspapers across the country. This is especially to set the record straight, especially about what exactly happened so that fake news will be dispelled. The elevator slapping drama.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you for finding out. Because, you know, even though it happened at about 11 a.m. that day, no journalist called me to find out what the true picture was until one gentleman from the Vanguard came at about 4:30 p.m. So it goes to show that we're not doing our jobs well as journalists, because you always need to get another side of the story. But that is due to the online media. It was a small issue. It was an issue of indiscipline. I needed to use the elevator. It was not any designated elevator. It was a general elevator. Elevator meant for staff. And I don't have heirs around me. So I went into it, and the security man and the young man that went with me to the meeting just stood by me. Unknown to me, there was a union meeting, and tempers were high. They were going to talk about the management. So the staff members were moving from where we are. They made a mistake by coming to the public hearing, thinking it was the venue for their meeting. They were going up in the lift to another level where the meeting was taking place, charged, willing to talk about their problems. And there I was in the lift, and the security man was standing in front of me. I was there with my arms akimbo, and the two gentlemen came in and said, "Why are you shielding anybody? Come on, get out. This is our place. This is..." Started talking. And I said to the policeman, "Be careful. You're holding a gun, be careful." And the next thing I saw was that he just stopped the lift, blocked the sensors, and dragged the policeman who had a gun. And so I kept on insisting that the policeman should guard his gun so that it didn't go off. And when I saw that they were fighting, he tore up the gentleman's...
That's the parliamentary staff.
Yeah, parliamentary staff. Tore his clothes. So I told him it was very wrong and that he was going to be in trouble. So I left the scene. The policeman went home to have a change of clothing. I went to 3 other meetings after that. And so that's what happened. But, you know, he probably didn't know at the beginning that I was a senator. So when he saw that there was a grave mistake made, they needed to quickly write something and put on air. And that was what happened.
So you didn't ask your aide to slap any parliamentary staff?
Is it possible to do that? No one will do that. It's not possible. How could you ask anyone to slap any other person?
But it still begs the question, because a younger staff can't fight a distinguished senator.
I agree with you, but you know, these things do happen.
I mean fighting a distinguished senator with that type of story, not physically now.
Oh, okay. Yeah, and you know, because I am not sure if they did it, even though I heard that they did it, but I also know that the social media is usually looking for the underbelly, and so it will be easy for them to also be able to twist it around. You can see that there are so many versions. That's why I have not reacted
Absolutely.
to any
There
of
are
them.
many versions.
There are too many versions. There is a version that said I was slapped. There's another version that said they fought. And so you know that different people are talking to different sectors. That's why I have refused to comment on any of the stories, because these things will also pass.
Now, let's move on to more constructive issues. PDP politics, which will now serve as a build-up to your ambition in Ekiti 2018. The conduct of your party's convention, which was concluded in December, how satisfactory was it in your own view?
Well, we did our best. That was what happened. And in the circumstance we found ourselves, there was nothing else we could do. You remember that we had been in court for several months, and people were ready to jump ship. Nobody was willing to wait again. And so when we got the reprieve, it was such a big relief for every one of us. In fact, at that level, any good person would have sufficed. And the way it went, we thank God that we were able to manage it and also get the real people, because real people really contested to be chairman of our party. Yes, my zone feels cheated. We believe it was the turn of our zone. But when the chips are down and it is a matter for election, any side could win, because it will depend on the people who are voting. And so we're just grateful that we're able to get out of it and we are stabilizing.
But is Governor Wike not being reasonable when he suggests that it is the South-South so far that has always been delivering votes to the PDP, and the Southwest is most of the states rather in the Southwest are more controlled by the All Progressives Congress?
That's not quite right. The reason the Southwest has not been delivering has been very simple. When we had the president in the Southwest, we delivered. We delivered wholesale. You know, you need to have an impetus. You need to have reasons to tell your people that this is what you are going to get, for you to get it. Most of the time, the Southeast and South-South have always had good positions that propels their people. They always had something to look forward to.
But then that means that the Southwest delivers. If the Southwest delivers when you have the president, it means that the PDP uses the power of incumbency to deliver a particular region, not necessarily because it's popular.
No, that is not the reason. Whether you like it or not, the Southwest... Would
you say that's not the reason in Ekiti in 2014?
In 2014, we delivered because we were all together in Ekiti. We decided we were going to take back the reins of power. Whether you like it or not, Ekiti is 80% PDP. Whatever you say about Ekiti, the bad governance, whatever you say, Ekiti has always been PDP. And so...
But the popular audio tape says otherwise.
Look, forget about all those funny things. Nobody...
You call that funny?
Yeah, nobody could come to my local government where we delivered 42,000 votes and say that anyone was used to deliver it. We voted. We made sure each person held his unit, and we won all the units except 2.
Where leaders of the opposition were held and were not allowed to work for their party?
I am talking now about my own local government. You can only talk about where you were. You can't talk about where you were not. You couldn't have been in 2 places at the same time. My local government, Ekiti East, even those people in opposition who believed in what we were doing, because we went round convincing everyone, voted. And if we could vote and give our votes voluntarily.
But leaders of the opposition were also held hostage. They were not allowed to work for their party.
Where was that?
Honorable Aloba, who has told me personally
Honorable Aloba
that he was
or where?
That he was arrested. Bisi Aloba.
Bisi Aloba, he's from Ikere. We started in the PDP together. So he is someone I know very well. I did not hear that. If it happened, maybe it was a localized thing. But you see, the noise is different from the actual voting. People can tell you they are with you, they love you, they cherish you. But on the day of voting, for whatever reason, they might not.
Now you say that you did your best in that convention under the circumstances. Now it seems as if a criminy only gave birth to a criminy, because some who lost out in that election have gone to court. Is that the best that the PDP could deliver? And in the light of course, allegations that that election was monetized.
Do you want the truth, or you want me to beg the facts?
The truth.
Every election, whether it's in opposition or in the ruling party, is monetized. Monetized to a level whereby every delegate gets a stipend for coming. We have been able to have
the monetization
conventions
that you say is a hallmark of politicking. You know? Someone could say, okay, you're coming all the way from Ekiti, for instance, you're coming all the way from Lagos to vote. Please vote for this candidate. I will up your stipend.
Well, that's about lobbying. It is lobbying. And it happens in every political party. I am not one to run away from real issues like that. It happens. You
so this type of convention, for instance, has cheated your region out of key offices in the party, in the convention.
Let me now tell you that was not what took us out. Because our people were also good to the people who came. They were very, very good to them. They paid their transportation, they gave them accommodation. But it was about negotiation. And that also happens in every political party.
Now, still talking purchases. Former President Olusegun Obasanjo, in his latest love letter to the presidency, besides dismissing the ability of this current administration to continue, also talked about one of the strong men of your political party purchasing that election, that victory, you know, that verdict giving the McCarthy faction victory at the Supreme Court, and how he thinks that he's going to, you know, dictate the terms of the party, dismissing the PDP as well. What are your thoughts to this?
Well, you know, at that level, that is beyond some of us. The former president might know things we don't know. I wouldn't know about purchases. I don't talk to judges.
But you're also relying on the leadership of this party, whose legitimacy is being questioned, to give you justice in your own ambition in Ekiti.
Of course, and we're asking them to also tell us about that. I'm a member of the BOT.
Just before we leave these issues, you said giving stipends is normal in politicking, and you were a delegate. I'd like to ask, and I require a yes or no answer. Were you giving a stipend for coming?
No, because I am a serving senator.
Interesting. You're watching Fireworks, and Senator Olujimi has talked about the importance of asking questions. So I will toe that path after this break, but this time we'll be looking at the APC's report on restructuring. Stay with us. Thank you for staying tuned to Fireworks. If you've been following our discourse in the last half hour or so, we've been reviewing the PDP's convention in 2017, and my guest happened to be one of the delegates. So many interesting revelations have come out as to what exactly went down and the Southwest's position to the emergence of the new national chairman, who is from the South-South. Now we're progressing to other national issues, one which is especially on the front burner now, restructuring. Senator Olujimi, the APC's report on restructuring recommends devolution of powers, state mergers, and that states should make laws that would suit their local governments. What are your thoughts on this?
Well, we've got to do something about the Constitution if they're going to bring that. And why are they bringing that now, after the Constitution review has gone on? That is the question I ask. Because this, if they had been convinced that there was need for restructuring, should have been done earlier, so that we could have taken these issues with the review of the Constitution. Don't forget that in the Constitution review, we had devolution of powers. We need to ask them, because they have more governors than any other party. What has happened to devolution of powers? It failed.
You're saying that it's an afterthought.
It's an afterthought.
But then again, it takes us back to last year when the Senate voted against devolution of powers.
That is exactly what I'm saying to you.
Okay.
When we got to devolution of powers, if you see the voting list, because we did it properly, we have a voting list. You can also ask for it. You will know those who voted against it. And you have a list of names to those who voted against it. When you see those who voted against it, you will see they are from one side. And it was because the people who they represented didn't believe in it. That was why they voted against it. And those of us that voted for it, it was because we believed.
So you voted for it?
Of course, yes. Because powers must devolve.
Now, let's go to Ekiti politics. Governor Ayodele Fayose says you are no longer relevant in Ekiti politics and you're only overrating yourself. What do you say to this?
I'm sure he was joking. He was joking. Because God used some of us, including me, to bring him back. I'm sure, you know, there are times you get overly excited. And you see, those of us that are talking about contests were the people who worked the most to ensure that he came back into the party and he got the ticket. If we hadn't worked, 16-0 would have been a mirage. Could he come to my local government on the day of elections? No. Could he go to the other people's local government on the day of elections? The answer is no. It is only when you work together and you deliver your place and I deliver mine that a governor is installed. The truth is, Governor Fayose wants to dictate the terms by which we will wake up, sleep, eat, and be humans in Ekiti State. But it has never worked. Many people have tried before now. It won't work because every governor is barred by time and term. And his time and term is almost going to an end.
Just before he adopted his deputy, Kolapo Olushola, there were reports that you were going to be his anointed candidate. And it was natural because you were his deputy when he was governor in 2003. So what happened? No,
I was never his candidate. No, I was never his choice. Well, I don't think he feels he can trust me enough to have his back. And that is the issue on ground. He believes that I'm too hard, I'm too tough. And you know, he still has that old belief that I was the one that removed him as governor during his first term. But he knows the truth.
At the time of the impeachment, if I recall, back then, when there was a brief vacuum, you had claimed to be the governor of Ekiti State.
Yes, when he left and he didn't tell me he was leaving.
Is that the seed for the mistrust that is now between both of you?
I don't think so. I think he felt that my linkages were too broad and that I had reached out to people.
Now, you are seeking the intervention of the leadership of the party to stop him to stop the leadership of Boyega Oguntuashi from being the one to preside over the primaries.
Yeah.
But Governor Fayose has said that his adoption of Olushola doesn't preclude you and the other aspirants from participating in the primaries. So what are you afraid of?
I think he's just hiding behind one finger. Look at it this way. The party chairman will be there. He will draw up the list of the delegates. And he will be free to change whichever names he does not feel comfortable about. And the party chairman already declared that he is with the governor, and the governor is with one candidate. And you are going into that election thinking that it will be free and fair. I mean, I have been in politics long enough. I was in politics before him. So I have been in it long enough to know that those dynamics can never add up.
Are you threatened by Kolapo Olushola in any way?
I will beat him 100 times over. Because you see, he came in by default. We have been there, working with the people, toiling with them. We are the ones they know. I asked them, where has he spoken before at a rally and even said he wanted to contest? It is the governor that's been speaking. It is the governor that is contesting. And that is all we are talking about. Because when the governor was coming in, he told us, he said, if you give me this opportunity, when I'm going out, I want someone who will live with me. And so I am going to take a non-politician. That was how we had hunted him. It was his father he wanted to use. His father was 81 years old. And I was one of those that said, no, it can't work. And then we asked him if he had sons. There were two. One was younger. And he told us one was at the University of Ife. I was the one that received Professor Kolapo Olushola. It was then Dr. Kolapo Olushola here in Abuja because the governor had never met him. I was the first to meet him. I took him to the party secretariat. He didn't even know his ward. He didn't know his unit. And so we thought, okay, because he is not a politician, then the governor meant well. He told us there will be level playing field. Everyone who wanted to contest will be able to contest. If 5, 6, 7 people contest, only one person can win. So there is no issue about whether you win or lose. If you have a free and fair primaries and you lose, you'll go back home knowing that you didn't do enough work. It is not when someone holds your hand to your back after putting so much into the party that you now feel good. That is the issue on ground.
If I get you, and if there's something else that came out from your explanation now, but you didn't quite state clearly, is that he wanted somebody that would not be a threat to him.
Well,
shouldn't politicians now take responsibility when consequences like this arise? Shouldn't you, as a former deputy governor of Ekiti State at that time, have insisted on someone competent that can step into the shoes of the governor in case of any incident?
He said, I want a level playing field. I want to go out with my deputy so that anyone at all, because none of you is my enemy.
But he could also be saying somebody that would not be a threat to me.
It was later on that came on. And so that is where we are. Like I said, these are the issues. And in politics, there is this dynamism that you really cannot put a finger on. And I believe that will start happening.
There is also divisiveness, which is probably making the PDP head for the South in the 2018 election in Ekiti State.
Well, if it is badly handled. If it is badly handled. But I believe that the national body, the current National Working Committee, will never allow that. They will never allow that.
Do you have a plan B if you don't get the primary?
Plan B?
If you don't win at the primary?
I am not a desperate person. I once tried to come to the Senate and Governor Fayose was in exile. And while in exile, because the executive that he had put there before he left was still the one that handled the primaries, he compelled them not to allow me get the ticket. We tied at first, we had a rerun. When I lost, I went back to what I was doing. for 3-4 months, and then I went back to Ekiti to campaign again. Here I am today. So there is no desperation in me. The party, I will not leave for anyone. I will not leave the PDP for anyone. If I will leave the PDP, I will first see what is driving me, and I will pursue that thing to a logical conclusion before I do that.
Lastly, before we wrap up this interesting edition, let's talk about your gender equality bill, which was thrown out of the Senate. How is that sitting with you?
Well, it came back. We are at the level where the Senate President has been able to speak to all the people who had contentions. The contention was really heritage and widowhood. And where we are now is that we have decided to take just the simple aspects of it and do it piecemeal rather than wholesale that we wanted before. We have agreed that 45% is better than 0%.
Looking at that bill critically, isn't it in itself an admission of the fact that there is a natural cause of the order of the world which confers headship on the man? So if you're saying that you want equality with the man, you're also admitting that he is the head. So why contend?
There is no stage that we're contending with the man. If you're asking for 35%, are you contending? 35% of 100 does not make you the leader. But we're saying now we have 1%. Why? Will we go to the same schools? Will we take our children through schools? Will we bring them up to the same level with the boys? Will we get jobs? Will we make first class? Will we do well? And then you cannot move on. You cannot even attain 5%. That's what we're talking about.
Distinguished Senator Biodun Olujimi, thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. Thank you for coming.
That's how it's been on Fireworks today. What are the things that resonate with you the most about her stand on national issues? Is it that on the coalition, or that about having respect for elders, or that Nigerians should ask questions all the time? Join us again same time next week for another incisive edition of the program. On behalf of the crew, I am Bukola Samuel Wemimo. Bye for now. Thank you again.
Thank you.